Hi, this is Mike Gormley. It's the Mike Gormley Show, and we have Gary Myrick on today, a guitarist who's been around in a lot of different, what did you say, combinations of bands and so on and so forth. But what's really interesting is there's a new record out called "The Sum of All My Sins," and it has two or three, we'll call them cover tunes, although he does them in with his version. But there's also some songs you've written on there, right?
Yes, there's a song called "The Ode to Robert Johnson," and I love the music of Robert Johnson. And Robert Johnson in the 1930s recorded the majority of his only album in Dallas, Texas. So there's a location in Dallas that I've been to, and I actually cut a video in that space, and it's downtown Dallas. And then he also recorded part of that record in San Antonio, Texas. So I don't know, what was the original question?
Well, I just want to know, you've written some of your own on this EP, not just.
Yeah. And so I wanted to write I said, you don't hear many odes these days.
No.
And you don't hear a whole lot of odes. And I said, I want to write kind of a tribute to Robert Johnson and his story. So I told his story on this song, and it's pretty heavy. I mean, all the tracks, except for that one acoustic track, are quite, heavy.
Yeah.
Heavy guitar, a lot of big, loud guitar. And another thing about this record, I'd never played all the instruments on any of my records. Excuse me. But of course, I played little bits and pieces here and there. I played my guitar and I do the vocals, and I would, play rhythm guitar and lead guitar and, etc. But on this record, I wanted to play every instrument except for drums. And I have a great drummer who has played with a lot of people, and he's very talented, and he's my favorite drummer in Los Angeles, and a hell of a nice guy too. His name is Dusty Watson. And so I called him up to see if he was available. He was, which I was very happy about. So it was just me and him in the studio. So I would record the rhythm guitar with a scratch vocal to the drums. And I had some arrangement ideas, but I could really do it freely because I wasn't having to tell a bass player what to play or a keyboard player, or it was just me and him, and it worked out really great. In fact, I'm intending to make my future records just like this. It was a really great combination. Him, a great producer, Robert Margoliff, and myself, and we also had an excellent engineer. And we were at a place called King Size Sound Labs over in the Pasadena area. Really great studio. So this was really a pleasure artistically to make this record.
Was Death Letter Blues, is that an original?
Death Letter Blues is from Son House. Son House is really from the 1930s. Solo blues guy that played resonator guitars, and resonator guitars are like, people have seen them as dobros, National guitars. I have 3 Nationals that are resonator guitars, and they're made out of metal. They're basically made out of nickel, and so they have a certain sound. And they were used a lot in the 1930s. They were real popular, and they're still popular. They have an underground following.
Yeah, right. But it's a really cool instrument.
I love them.
And not only it sounds cool, it looks cool.
It does look cool, but they really sound unique. There's nothing like a resonator guitar.
Cool. We're gonna listen to "Ode to Robert Johnson" on the way out. But when we came in from the commercial a few minutes ago, that was Death Letter Blues, and that's what we've been talking about. And now "Ode to Robert Johnson" is going to come up. And when we come back, I want to find out just
I thought it was On the Road Again.
no, On the Road Again was a couple of commercials ago.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Anyway, we'll come back and I want to talk about your connection with Robert Margouleff, who is an amazing producer, and
Yep.
you know, all his work with Stevie Wonder, which is the peak of Stevie Wonder's career. No matter how much you love him now and how much he's revered, this was the peak when Robert was working with him. And it's
Yes.
we'll talk about that connection. So we'll listen to Ode to Robert Johnson, head out to a commercial, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Great. Fantastic.